Um, the battery will hold out, because you know how it overheats. Yeah. But I'll stay as long as I can. Let me change my messages over. Oh goodness. So yeah, give me about a minute or two to get set up. I've gotten several messages, but yeah, I'm going live today. Sorry, I didn't go live yesterday. There's gonna be times where I simply don't have the time. I'm sorry, but like, you know, real life gets busy. Whether we want it to or not. Sometimes. I'm moving my laptop over. So, I hope that's okay with you. If it's not, well, sorry. You know, I've got shit to do and I don't have a whole lot of time anymore. I mean, it is what it is. I've got a lot on my plate and I'm doing the best I can to manage all of it. And some things are going to fall through the cracks, like my YouTube channel. Like, it's not not my number one priority. It is a priority, but it's not the priority. The priority is my family. And getting us through all of this. So, just bear with me, I guess. I got a new box. I stuck Lilo and Stitch stickers on it. I'm putting my markers in it. I'm going to do a couple of scratch-offs for you guys. I hadn't done that in a while. A buddy of mine brought me a bunch of them. I've got a friend that brings me the damn things because they're nice. So, we can do that and listen to Wendigo stories. And again, guys, listen. I'm sorry that I haven't been here as much. But I've got a lot going on, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. Hey, Tulio and Leonardo and people. Hello. Alright. I got my lappy top geared up, and now we will find a scary story. I found another narrator. And they're really good. Um, okay, well, what is it? I can't tell you no if I don't know what it is. Oh, where was that video? I just had it. Like 5 seconds ago. Well, I don't have Instagram. Sorry. I don't do Instagram because I don't know, I just don't want to. um I'm not the biggest social media person. Um I do good to do YouTube, honestly. But I don't have Instagram. Like I had one and I haven't been able to log onto that account in like 6 years. I've lost the password like 6 years ago and I never bothered retrieving it, so the account is probably deactivated by now from being inactive. I had a I found a great narrator who talks about Wendigos and skinwalkers. He is Navajo, and I like him. And he's really, really good at it. Or we can listen to Mr. Ballin. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna do crafty shit and hang out with you as soon as I find a decent story to listen to. God damn it. Where did you go? I'm just gonna search it. Fuck it. Alright, here we go.
Forced my legs to move, heart hammering painfully, my mind racing with terror and guilt. We'd left Caleb behind, but there was no going back now. The darkness was alive, watching, close.
Hey, Shelly. I can't use the Spirit Talker app when I'm streaming like this, but if you'll wait until I go on StreamYard and we do a paranormal StreamYard, I may do one after this. It depends on how tired I am after this. Um, I can do the scary stories. And what is that? Y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? The hell? You know the Home Depot over here burned the other day? Like a couple of days ago. Jesus, I wonder what happened. That never happens out here. Huh. Anyway, if I do a StreamYard tonight, I'll read scary stories to you and open up Spirit Talker. And we'll do it that way. I've been drawing since I was a kid. Um, that's not mine. I'm coloring it. Just for clarity, I don't want you to think I drew that because I didn't. Not that one. I have drawn pictures that I've colored on my channel, but that's not one of them. I just want to be transparent here. The artist who did that one is a talented artist, and I wouldn't want to do that to them. So, I've been drawing since I was like 8, I think, about 7, maybe 8. I didn't get good at it until I was like probably 15 or 16. When I learned about shading and boxing and shadows and lighting and all that crap. It took a long time to really get it, but it's always been a passion. Even when I was horrible at it, and I really sucked, I enjoyed it. You know what you should get her? My son, my youngest son. Hold on and I'll show you one he did, okay? Don't tell him I showed you. Don't narc me out, Shelly. And I'll show you one he did. He's 12 now, and I remember when he was about 3, 4 years old, we would sit in the floor and color. And that was our bonding time. Now, he is better than I am by a long shot. About 3 years ago, I got him several sets of the alcohol markers, like a big bucket of them, and gave him like various complex coloring books, like for adults. And he did great. So encourage your daughter. If she wants to draw, get her art supplies. You're not wasting money. I got really upset the other day because somebody told me I was wasting money buying my son markers, like artistic markers, like the high-end markers. I use Dollar General markers, but my son is going to use the best art markers I can buy. But like, they were like, why are you wasting money? He's a kid. He doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, yeah, he does. He's a better artist than I am. So, encourage your kids, you know? If they want to do art, encourage them. I started doing art and craft and all that shit, you know, very young. Stop doing drugs, your voice is fucked. My voice is ugly. Oh, Puddin'. Stop doing drugs, your voice is fucked. My voice is fine, thank you. Jealous much, bitch? Are you mad because people would rather listen to me than listen to you? Is that why you're mad? Choke on a dick, bitch. Stay mad. Your rage makes me giggle. Rage harder. But anyway, yeah, I was pretty young, and I don't think he really got into it until he was like 10 or 11. But he's gotten really good at it over the last year or two. But then again, I've spent like a fuck ton of money on like art supplies and like prism markers. Prism and Scolic are really good art markers. The Copic markers are really good too for this kind of thing. I like Sharpie, but they tend to bleed through really bad. So I don't really use those very much anyway. Let's see if we want anything.
Closing in around us, whispering our names in voices disturbingly familiar yet horrifyingly wrong. Whatever haunted this ancient canyon knew exactly who we were, and it wasn't letting us go easily. We ran blind through the darkness, our feet barely keeping traction on the loose gravel. My flashlight swung chaotically, casting distorted shadows that danced along the canyon walls like twisted specters. Every pounding heartbeat echoed painfully inside my chest. Caleb's screams haunted me, the memory sharp and raw, driving my desperate flight. The trail narrowed abruptly, hemmed in by walls of jagged sandstone. Ahead, Jason stumbled, nearly falling face first into the dirt. Amber yanked him up roughly, urging him forward. Keep going, don't stop. A quick glance upward revealed the figures still pacing us effortlessly, their outlines stark against the pale moonlight. My stomach churned. Whatever they moved with chilling ease, each step precise and deliberate as if toying with us. Don't look at them, I shouted, remembering the old stories I'd foolishly recited earlier. Just keep running. We rounded a sharp bend and my blood froze. A solitary figure stood perfectly still, blocking our narrow path, silhouetted grotesquely by moonlight. I slowed instinctively, nearly losing my footing. The figure twisted unnaturally, joints bending at impossible angles, limbs stretching and shrinking, contorting silently into nightmarish shapes. Amber screamed, pressing a hand over her mouth. Oh my God, what is that? Jason hesitated, his voice ragged with fear. We're trapped. No, I shouted, the panic breaking through. It's a trick! Don't stop! Go around it! I surged forward, ducking my head, squeezing past the horrible shape. Cold, fetid air brushed my cheek. An angry snarl hissed inches from my ear. Pure primal terror erupted within me, and adrenaline pushed me on, faster, harder. Amber and Jason followed, breathing in harsh, panicked gasps.
Faster, harder. Yeah, that couldn't be taken up. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. They want to take it in faster and harder, April. Do you want it faster and harder, April?
Incline steepened as we neared the canyon rim, and I glanced behind us, regretting it instantly. Shadows flooded the trail, limbs and figures stretching and morphing, skittering rapidly in pursuit, their eyes catching the moonlight, glowing with malevolent hunger. Jason's breath came in frantic wheezes. Amber stumbled, sobbing, exhaustion beginning to claim us all. I reached back, grabbing her trembling hand, dragging her forward. We're almost there. Just keep moving. The horizon began to pale faintly, the promise of dawn just beyond reach. The shadowy pursuers drew closer, growling softly, voices merging into distorted whispers, our whispers, calling our names, pleading for help in Caleb's voice, chillingly real. A clawed hand brushed my jacket, snagging briefly. I jerked free, feeling the fabric tear, stumbling upward. Another snarl erupted behind us, rage and frustration evident in its tone. Amber screamed as something tugged at her backpack. She yanked free desperately, discarding it without hesitation, racing onward beside me. Finally, we crested the canyon's rim, collapsing onto flat ground, gasping for air. The first rays of sun broke the horizon, golden and warm, spilling across the desert landscape. I rolled onto my back, half expecting to be grabbed and dragged back down into the darkness. But the figures stopped abruptly, lingering at the canyon edge, their outlines blurring in the morning light, shifting uneasily. They paced anxiously, snarling, growling low and guttural, angry but seemingly unable or unwilling to follow us further into daylight. We watched helplessly as they melted back into the canyon's shadowy depths. A final, mournful howl rose, echoing in our ears, the distorted, familiar voice of Caleb woven hauntingly into it. A final taunt as dawn reclaimed the canyon. We staggered to the car without speaking, shaken and broken. As we sped away from Canyon to Shelley, the weight of silence filled the vehicle, punctuated only by Amber's quiet sobs. Days later, search teams scoured the canyon for Caleb, finding nothing. No body, no trace, just empty desert and relentless silence. I understood then, with sickening certainty, that the ancient evil had claimed him, adding Caleb's voice forever to its mocking chorus. We never returned to that place, nor spoke openly of what happened. But the echoes of that night remain, relentless and clear, haunting my dreams. A grim reminder of the ancient shadows waiting patiently in Canyon de Celli for those foolish enough to doubt their existence. I'd chased sunsets before, but nothing compared to the way Monument Valley glowed as twilight settled over.
Like, I love these things, but the dust from them gets everywhere. Like, it's hard to keep that stuff, like, from getting all over everything. I don't know why I'm wasting my time even dusting this up, because I got a couple more to do, but I can't stand it. Like, the scratch off bits gets on everything. I guess it's my OCD. I can't help it. Yeah, I'm tired too. Psycho and but no, the dust from these things gets on everything, so occasionally I have to pause and clean it up because it bothers me.
The massive sandstone towers stood silent, almost otherworldly, silhouetted against the fading amber sky. It was my last day out here, a solo photography trip intended as a creative reset. Tomorrow I'd be heading home, back to the noise and lights of the city. But tonight, on impulse, I'd taken a rough dirt road, thinking I could capture just one more perfect shot near the totem pole rock spire. The road wasn't marked, barely wide enough for my car. Red dust kicked up in clouds behind me as I bounced slowly over ruts and potholes. My GPS had lost signal miles ago, but I wasn't worried, yet. After all, I'd studied maps before heading out here. Kayenta wasn't far, just a half-hour drive south at most. If I turned around now, I could still make it back to my motel before full dark. But I didn't turn back, and soon the desert decided for me. A sudden cough from the engine jerked me to attention. My dashboard lights flickered, the radio crackled static, and then, without warning, the engine sputtered once, twice, and died. The silence that followed felt absolute, an oppressive weight settling instantly over the darkening landscape. My pulse quickened. "Come on," I whispered, gripping the key tight, cranking the ignition. The engine wheezed weakly, refusing to start. My stomach twisted sharply with anxiety. I grabbed my phone from the passenger seat, praying for at least a bar of service. Nothing. "Great," I muttered, leaning my head back against the seat. Through my windshield, the desert sprawled infinitely outward, a shadowy maze of mesas and rock formations that now seemed vaguely threatening. The crimson glow that had seemed so magical moments ago was vanishing, replaced by stark darkness, punctuated only by faint moonlight. I sat a moment, collecting my thoughts, rationalizing. Someone would come along eventually, right? I glanced around. No one would be coming this way after dark. Not down a dirt road that wasn't on any tourist maps. Panic crept closer, tightening my chest. I decided to check the engine, though I knew little about cars beyond changing a tire. At least it felt proactive. I stepped out, my shoes crunching loudly in the gravel, and popped the hood. Cool night air slipped around my shoulders, colder than I'd expected. The quiet unsettled me, unnatural in its completeness. No birds, no insects, nothing but the muted sigh of a distant wind. The engine looked normal enough, nothing visibly damaged or leaking. Frustrated, I slammed the hood shut, the sound echoing harshly against the valley walls. That's when I heard it, a faint, distinct clicking noise, rhythmic and deliberate, somewhere off to my left. I froze, ears straining. Silence. Then footsteps. Soft, almost hesitant, circling slowly around the far side of my car. "Hello?" I called, my voice trembling slightly. My words died quickly in the desert air. Nothing answered, but the footsteps stopped. Heart pounding, I scanned the darkness. I saw nothing but shadows, distorted shapes beneath the distant mesas. "It's nothing," I whispered shakily, climbing quickly back into my car, locking the doors behind me. The silence deepened. I stared at the dashboard, willing the lights back on, willing anything to happen. Movement caught my eye. Far out, atop a distant rock ledge, a figure shifted suddenly. I squinted, desperately trying to make sense of it. It moved fluidly, too fast, shifting abruptly from human-like to something animalistic, hunched and agile. Goosebumps prickled my skin. "What was that?" I breathed, gripping the steering wheel. My instincts screamed danger, but reason fought back. Shadows played tricks at night. Maybe just a desert animal, a coyote, a bobcat. Maybe nothing at all. I reached down, fumbling with the ignition again, but still the car refused to start. Panic rising, I glanced toward my camera bag on the passenger seat, my hand trembling as I reached for the flashlight tucked within.
Well, that one's a no-go. Maybe this one will be better. Next. Well, good luck, Harry. I hope you're alright. I'm just weirded out that they gave you an EKG, but are you at home? Because normally if they give you an EKG, you're not home. So that would be a little weird if you're saying you had a EKG and you're at home and still don't have the results. A little weird. Well, you should have gotten them day of. They don't typically just give you an if they're concerned enough to give you an EKG, they don't typically just release you. So that's a little weird. Yeah, but it's weird. Like, anytime I've had one of those and there was even a question about it, they typically keep you. I just don't understand if they still had questions why they let him go. I'm not saying they didn't, I'm just saying it's strange. Not yet. Oh, okay.
As I flicked it on, a harsh white beam illuminated the dusty road ahead, starkly highlighting the eerie emptiness of the valley around me. Then my camera shutter snapped, a sharp electronic click. I jumped, startled, whirling around, grabbing the camera. My breath caught as I stared down at the screen, a sick dread settling heavy in my gut. I hadn't touched the camera. I hadn't even turned it on. But there it was, an image glowing on the small screen, slightly blurred from the low light but unmistakable. My car, surrounded by darkness. And directly behind it stood a figure, tall and thin, facing toward me. My breath quickened into short gasps as my fingers fumbled desperately to delete the picture. I shut my eyes, swallowing the fear rising like bile. It's a glitch, I told myself. A camera error. Maybe the heat or... Another sharp click pierced the silence. My eyes snapped open, and dread flooded every cell of my body as the same image appeared again. Only this time, the figure had moved closer, now standing just behind my rear bumper. I spun around in the seat, flashlight shaking violently in my hands. I stared through the rear windshield into black emptiness. Nothing was there. Not yet. But something was out there. Something moving toward me. Something watching from the darkness. And now it knew that I knew it was there. For what felt like eternity, I sat frozen, eyes locked on the impenetrable darkness outside the car. My breath fogged the windows slightly, obscuring my already limited view. My flashlight trembled in my hands, sending erratic beams of white across the empty road, the rocks, the barren landscape beyond. Every muscle in my body felt knotted, tense with a fear I'd never experienced before. A deep, primal sense that something was terribly wrong. The silence was suffocating. Then, without warning, every light in the car flickered once more and went completely dark, leaving me isolated in complete blackness. My heart lurched. I hit the ignition again, turning the key in desperation. Nothing, no clicking, no sputter, just the deafening emptiness of a dead vehicle stranded on a desolate road. My breathing quickened, and in the absolute silence that followed, I heard something new. A soft, deliberate tapping, gentle but persistent. Tap, tap, tap. The sound came from the passenger side window. My blood ran cold. My mind screamed at me not to look, not to turn my head, but something compelled me to glance toward the source. At first, I saw nothing but my own reflection, pale and frightened in the glass. But as I focused beyond, the outline of a figure slowly emerged. It stood close enough for me to make out details. A frail, elderly man dressed in traditional Navajo clothing, his face deeply lined, his hair thin and silvery beneath a wide-brimmed hat. He looked harmless, even frail, yet my skin crawled as his eyes met mine through the thin glass. "Please," he said softly, his voice muffled by the window but clear enough to send chills down my spine. "Please help me. My son. He's lost. He went into the desert, and he hasn't returned." A rush of conflicting emotions surged through me. The instinctual urge to help clashed violently with the gut-deep feeling of dread that radiated from this man. My mind raced, debating my options, but caution won. I cracked the window barely an inch, heart thumping hard enough to hear in my own ears. "Do you have a phone?" I asked, my voice unsteady. He shook his head slowly, never blinking, never breaking eye contact. "No phone," he replied softly, his voice almost sing-song, hypnotic in the way it curled gently through the crack. "Please, he's just over there, near our hogan. It's not far." My eyes flicked in the direction he pointed. There was nothing but inky blackness and empty desert. "You shouldn't be here," the old man whispered suddenly, his voice changing slightly, deeper, harsher. "Not on this land, not tonight." My breath caught sharply. "I'm sorry," I said weakly, my throat dry and tight with fear. "I can't leave my car." He stared silently for a long moment, his expression never changing, the emotionless gaze sending a ripple of cold down my spine. "You're safer with me," he murmured softly, leaning closer, pressing his thin fingers gently against the window. "Come with me now." My instincts screamed. Every fiber of my being told me to pull back, lock down, retreat. But something drew my eyes involuntarily toward my side mirror as he leaned in, fingers still pressed softly to the glass. The mirror distorted him somehow. His face wasn't right, stretched oddly in reflection. My heart stopped as I watched his image twist, his features elongating grotesquely, his jaw dropping into an unnatural grin, teeth sharpened into jagged points, eyes becoming hollow sockets dark as pitch. I gasped and jerked away, rolling up the window as fast as my shaking fingers would allow. He moved quickly now, circling the car with terrifying agility, tapping insistently on every window in succession. Tap, tap, tap. He moved fluidly, 1 second elderly and fragile, the next predatory and wrong. His limbs contorted bizarrely, bones shifting visibly beneath his clothing, his shadow dancing wildly under the moonlight. I scrambled backward in my seat, tears of terror blurring my vision. "Go away!" I screamed, banging desperately on the dashboard, fighting the steering wheel. "Please start, please." Then without warning, silence returned. Absolute crushing.
Yeah, don't come over here with that shit. My baby brother was biracial, and I'm not putting up with it. Don't fucking come over here and be racist. We are sitting here minding our own business, listening to scary stories and scratching tickets. If that offends you, you need to go to your nearest mirror and look deep into it for the problem. Because you are the problem. Don't come over here with your bullshit. I have no space for toxic ass fucking racist. Exactly, April. And with me having so many biracial relatives and my baby brother, you I'm the last person you want to fucking try that shit on. I have zero tolerance. None. And it's my channel, it's my platform, it's my chat, and I get to decide what I do and do not allow on my channel. That will never be something I allow. We are chill over here. We don't go bothering people. We stay over here and hang out and mind our business. And we're chill and laid back and easygoing. Why you feel the need to come over here with your drama shit, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why you felt that was necessary. I've heard some of these, so I'm going to change the story. Anyway, on to the next one. We're not millionaires yet, though.
So I've never really told anyone about this, and I don't really know how to properly explain what I saw. So this is my first and best attempt. My name is Zach, and I moved to a northwestern city in Washington state in early 2018, and I didn't really know much about the area. I had recently gotten out of a pretty bad relationship, which actually led to me moving to this new city. Best decision of my life, by the way. I lived with my mom and her roommate for a while until I could get my own place, and everything was going pretty well. I had a nice job, made some good money, and I had little to no rent. Plus, I was making a lot of new friends. One night, about 2 weeks into my new move, my buddy, let's call him Jay, invites me to go play.
Listen, I feel the need to say something here and now. I don't have a whole lot of time for my YouTube channel anymore. I just don't. I've been squeezing it in where I can. I've been doing the best I can to keep you guys something to watch or listen to. And spend time with you guys. And like keep content out. But I have so much on my plate right now. It's really, really hard to keep up with it, honestly. So what time I do have, I don't want to spend it with toxic bullshit. Unnecessary drama. Like, I refuse to take what little time I do have to spend with you guys focusing on toxic bullshit. that serves no purpose, honestly. The constant back and forth and who can troll who the hardest, or who can bully who the most. I don't have time for it. I also don't have the patience for it. I'm nearly fucking 40 years old, and I'm not making space for that. I'm gonna be over here listening to my creepy stories, doing my art, scratching tickets, or going exploring on adventures, or uploading doggo videos. I have zero time for your childish, petulant bullshit. You can try that somewhere else. Not here. This is a place of peace, chill vibes, and occasionally some observations or opinions that are unbiased and completely removed. Where I'm Switzerland, basically. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm on the side of right. And right. It's a shelter outside of the shit show. I have my littles to worry about and raise. I have work. I have like household stuff I have to do. I am a one-man army. And in what little time I do have for this, I am choosing not to engage in the childish drama. So if you want to prod a interaction out of me for clicks and views, then do what you're gonna do. I don't care. You're not gonna get a response from me. I'm tired, I'm ornery, and I'm old. I'm dealing with enough already. I don't need the unnecessary bullshit. So go fuck with somebody else and stay the fuck away from me with your bullshit. And that's all I've got to say. And guys, I know I haven't been able to be here. And I'm sorry. I don't talk about it. And I'm not going to talk about it. But I've got a lot on my plate right now. And I'm overwhelmed with everything that's happened this year. I've learned what's important and what isn't, what matters and what don't. And I'm just not making space for that. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If this becomes too much and I don't have time, I'm sorry. But real life comes first. And they come first. And I'm already burning the candle at all three ends, and there ain't but two. I was really too tired to even do this, but like, even before I came on here, I was like, I'm not doing Lisa or Lori or none of that shit. It's draining to me, but I know that's what you guys want. You know, a lot of people want to see an update, but there's like 15 channels you can watch for that. And I don't mind doing it occasionally, but like it's unnecessary. And I really just need some time to chill and do this. Something that's not draining. Thank you, Dark. And I need that right now. I need a chill space where, you know, just me and a couple of you guys just sit here and listen to stories or chit chat. So thank you guys for understanding. But, you know, I'll do the best I can to come on as much as I can. But I'm tired. And not just physically, I am exhausted in every way you can think. I'm just tired. Anyway, thank you.
Some pool and have a few drinks. It wasn't too late, maybe 9:30, so I happily accepted the challenge, grabbed my phone, which I had unfortunately forgotten to plug in when I got home from work, searched for my keys, and got in my car. 10 minutes later, after blasting Blink 182 and some Screamo music, I pull up to the bar. My buddy is already outside and waiting for me, and I sat in my car for a minute before I went to say what's up. We played pool for a while that night, won a few games, lost a few games, before I felt like going home around 11:50 p.m. My buddy said he's gonna stay and hang out with some people he knew there, and so I left to go get my car and readied my phone for Google Maps to find my way home, and no power. It had run down while I was at the bar, and I didn't know these streets very well. But I didn't want to face the shame of walking back inside to tell my friend that I didn't know how to get home, so I decided to chance it. I mean, it wasn't even a 15-minute drive. It was pretty close by, right? Wrong. I got lost. About 10 minutes later, I realize I've taken a few too many wrong turns and ended up in this residential area with unfamiliar houses and streets. I kept driving on and on down these streets, trying to find a familiar landmark or familiar street name so I could find my way home. But all I found was more and more of these strange residential houses. But then, this weird fog started rolling in. Now, fog isn't that uncommon in the Pacific Northwest, and I know that. But this fog felt off. It felt heavy. It was this light gray color with a hint of tan, and it was swirling. It also stayed close to the ground and never really went above the tops of the houses. What really freaked
Ma'am, Stephen King's creepy ass lives up here. Not too far from here, actually. That fucking clown probably did come from here somewhere. That would be my luck. And, I will put you in timeout in the corner. Harry, I'm looking directly at you. Yeah, when he started talking about this weird fog, I automatically thought of somewhere right up the road where, like, sometimes at night, there will be this weird mist. Like, there is a weird fog here. I can't describe it really. It's really heavy. Like, it was foggy the other night. And I was like, I don't like this. Because my road looked like a fucking horror movie. Hey, look, it spells ass. Look, it spells ass. I'm not kidding. Look. It says ass. Ass surf. Who wants to go ass surfing? I do. It wasn't until I moved to Maine that, like, I finally understood Stephen King. You know, I finally know where all his ideas came from in all of those horror movies. It was because basically every one of those scenes in those movies, you know, of the fog and the heavy mist and the creepy vibe all together, like the whole aura of the place came from Maine. And like every one of his movies have like crows in them. Every one of them. And now I know why. Because in Maine, the bastards are everywhere. You can't throw a rock and not hit a crow. I've got one really mouthy crow that follows me around and yells at me all the time. That fucking crow has the lungs of a fucking opera singer and will yell at me every time I go outside. And you know, I got some food and started leaving it out there for him, thinking maybe that would make him stop screaming at me. Nope. Now he screams more. Only now he screams when he wants food. He's like, eh. Right? Yeah, it's screaming out, "Caw, caw." And I'm like, shut up. I argue with this crow. I'm not kidding. We have arguments. My phone is overheating. So I don't know how much longer I'll be on here. But if it ends, I'll be back tomorrow. I didn't do anything. What makes you think I did something to the bastard? I mean, crow. He started it. Like, I didn't do anything. I was minding my business, and he just suddenly was like, I'm gonna scream at you. Fuck you in particular. He started it. I stand by that. I did nothing. Look, it says OCD. No. Uh-uh. I would run. I would definitely run. Ooh, my phone is hot. Let me end this, and we can watch some scary ghost videos caught on camera. But my phone's fixing to explode, so um, it it's my favorite. I love it and the mist or fog. I think it's called the fog. But my phone is like burning up for some reason. So I'm gonna go to StreamYard and we can watch some scary videos. Give me like 10 minutes.